Okay, welcome back to Universal Corridor. My name is Corridor. Today's video is going to be a video review of Lexie Limitless. So Lexie Limitless is a, travel YouTuber. She claims to have traveled to all, I think it's 197 UN recognized countries and territories, the youngest person to ever do that. So she has a Guinness World Record for that. She has over 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. And this video is about how to travel solo. So someone who's been to over 30 plus countries around the world, at least one country every continent aside from Australia and Antarctica. I've done a good amount of solo travel, so this will be me reviewing her tips. Before I even begin with that, I'm going to try to anticipate the tips that she's going to say for traveling solo. I don't know how many she's going to give in the video, but I'll try to give 5 to 10 in anticipation of what she says. So one I would think of is safety is one of the most important things. So make sure you let everyone who's important to you know where you are at all times. Let them know what you're up to. Make sure they have your address and contact details for anywhere you're going to be staying, as well as your mobile phone details, so they keep in contact with you and they keep in regular contact with you as well. Try to not go out late at night. If you do, make sure you're in a large group or a decent group of people who you know are trustworthy. Don't drink too much. Try to not be drunk, because that's another way that your safety can be compromised when you're drunk, because you're not as aware of your surroundings. Always try to stay aware of your surroundings. Maybe use a tracking device, although that's a bit contentious, on yourself so other people can track where you are. If you're going to go in an Uber, always sit in the back of the Uber. Don't sit in the front of the taxi or the cab with the driver. Make sure that you have a good line of sight of them, and in some way, shape or form, it'll be easy enough for you to get away from them if they, I don't know, try to touch you or anything like that. Make sure you stay hydrated, eat well, be careful of what you eat, carry any medications that you may need. If you've got any medical conditions, have things like Imodium or other medication just in case you get an upset stomach. Have some painkillers with you. If you're a woman, make sure you have all the necessary women products that you might need as well. And again, travel in groups. So I think those will be some of the things she talks about in this video. Let's see what she says.
Hey guys, I'm in Costa Rica right now, and I decided this was the perfect time to dust off my backpacking backpack and take a trip to Nicaragua. I get so many questions asking how I travel alone safely, especially as a woman. So this is going to be the first video of many explaining how to travel solo. I'm lucky enough to have a local friend coming to pick me up right now to take me to the border of Nicaragua, so let the adventure begin. Hey!
Go to the next one.
Thank you.
Another stripe on the tiger.
Yes, exactly.
Right, so really that's one tip, although I don't know if she's going to mention it more in depth, but if you know somebody in a country as well, somebody you know and you trust, then obviously spending time with them, asking them where to go, where not to go, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, that should also help in terms of, you know, keeping you safe or as good as possible time whilst you're there.
So we just hopped in the car and we're officially on our way to Nicaragua. It's so rare to sit with someone who's actually from the country that you're going to when you're on the way there. So I'm going to be picking my friend Jose's brain about all of the best things to do, as well as any advice he has for staying safe while traveling in the country.
A lot of people still consider Nicaragua a really unsafe country, and they have the wrong image. Like in any other country, stay away from these little towns or neighborhoods that looks like dangerous. Don't walk at night alone, like passing midnight, for example, and don't leave your belongings unattended on the beach.
And there was some fighting happening in Nicaragua last year? Yeah.
And
how did that affect the tourism?
Of course, the tourism was affected by the conflict, and it dropped down. Now it's recovering, also the economy. But in the other hand, if you see the positive side of that for tourists, everything is cheaper now than a year ago. So just travel smart,
just like anywhere else.
Like anywhere else, yes. There's no words to describe the beauty of that country. It's my country.
I'm so excited. We are almost there. So I am officially on my own now, walking across the border. Already being catcalled a little bit by these truck drivers, but it's broad daylight, so it's pretty harmless. Almost there. getting into a taxi, always negotiate the exact price. And also, if possible, choose to put your luggage in the back seat with you rather than in the trunk.
Oh, it's okay, I'll just put it here. Thank you.
Do this just in case you need to get out of the car quickly, and your luggage will always be accessible.
So after 2 very frustrating hours at immigration, I finally just hopped in the back of a taxi. It's going to be about $25 to head to the city, as opposed to only a few dollars to take the bus. But because I wasn't expecting a 2-hour delay to be interrogated at the border about my passport stamps, I decided it would be worth it to hop in a taxi because I haven't eaten anything today and I'm very much eager to get there. But one thing I highly, highly recommend is that no matter what border you're going to, make sure to have a printed copy of your exit ticket and your hotel reservation.
If you don't have a local SIM card, always make sure to download offline Google Maps for the region. You can route yourself to the destination and double check that the taxi driver is taking you to the right place.
Gracias.
Yes.
So now I have arrived at the city center in San Juan del Sur, and I am going to find a cafe that has internet to find the best hostel.
Okay, so this trip seems like it's a trip on the fly, because if I travel, before I even get to the destination I'm going to, I would already know where I plan to stay. So the fact that she's going to go to an internet cafe and then look for where to stay is a bit of a different way of organizing and planning. Not something I would do, because I would be too worried about trying to find the hostel once I'm there instead of knowing where I'm going beforehand. But that's me.
I usually always book a hotel reservation before I get to where I'm going, but for the sake of this video, I want to break down a simple way to find cheap and safe accommodation. There is a whole mess of different hotel websites to choose from. I'm not going to go deep into that during this video, so just choose one of them, plug in your destination, the dates, and search. The first thing I do is select the price range. Then I dive into reading the reviews. I scan for red flags that are relevant for solo female travelers, and if there are no crazy bad comments, then it's safe to say that it's a reliable location to sleep. So finally, it's time to go check in.
So that was a lot of practical information. It seems like she intentionally hadn't booked the hotel in advance. So that was all part of the video, which is fair enough. So she did say what I said, is that you should book your hotel details in advance, because that's generally the way to do things when you travel, to have planned ahead. The advice she gave on finding a place to stay is also very sensible. Looking at online reviews, if you have any recommendations for people from that country who know the area, that's also useful to know. So yeah, well done to her.
Well, it certainly took a lot longer to get here than I was anticipating, which is exactly why I like to plan my transit days when I'm getting from one place to another, to be doing all of that traveling during the daytime. So I opted for a private room because I'm traveling with a lot of camera gear, but I love staying in dorms. It's such a cool way to connect with other travelers, a lot of solo travelers stay in hostel dorms, and it's also just incredibly affordable. The last thing I do when I check into a new hotel or hostel is that I connect to the Wi-Fi if I don't have a local SIM, and I shoot a message to one of my parents or my boyfriend or friend, updating them on approximately where I'm located. This is a habit that I've developed as kind of a safety blanket, so that I know in the back of my mind, if something does go wrong, there's at least one other person on the planet that knows where I am and can come looking for me if I don't check in again. But now that I've got...
As I said, let people know where you are, where you're going to be, so that at least there's somebody who can check in on you or just keep up to date to know where you are. And then if needs be, hopefully they can help you out if something does happen, or at least, yes, let's leave it there.
Now that I've gotten all settled in this new place, let's go explore the city.
I don't know how much is necessary, but he has one house, and naja, it could be interesting. It's the question, how much would it be for, I don't know how.
So a few minutes ago, I was sitting in a park across the street and two older men approached me. They had seen my camera and were asking how much I would charge to come to their house and take photos.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
So obviously using common sense, a lot of red flags.
That's a no. That's a no. That's a no. Random person invites you to their house to come and take pictures. No, that's a no. Which is, I'm sure she's going to say.
A lot of red flags come up. My advice when you get in a situation like this is don't overreact. Remember that you are an independent person. You have no moral obligation to speak to anyone or do anything that you don't want to do. You listen to what they say and then cut the conversation, tell them you're not interested or you're busy, and then you leave the environment that you were in.
Yep, that's a great advice. I will probably also add, as well as saying you're busy, give it a specific thing that you're busy about, because when you give specific information, it generally makes people think that you're not lying. So if it's say 2 p.m. in the afternoon and they're asking you about it, or say, oh, I'm sorry, I've got to meet a couple of friends in half an hour and then we're spending the whole day together, we're going to go to the beach and do X and Y, but just generic stuff in terms of what you're going to be doing, but just let them know that you had specific plans, and so you don't have time to spend the rest of the day doing anything aside from those plans. But say thank you and have a nice day, and then just continue on with the rest of your day. People generally get the idea. But yeah, that's never happened to me where somebody's come up to me and invited me to their house, a random stranger, to take pictures. That would be a bit scary, but she looks like she handled it well.
90% of the times that I get in a slightly uncomfortable situation, just making up an excuse and walking away gets rid of it relatively quickly. So. The most important part of solo travel is learning how to have fun with yourself and discovering how to be alone but not feel lonely. Thank you to B&H for providing me with an amazing camera setup. You can see what gear I'm using in the description below. As you guys can see, it is starting to get dark out, which means it's the end of my adventures for today. One of the most important rules I have as a female traveler is that I just don't adventure at night. It's not the most fun rule, but it has kept me safe in every single country in the world. I hope you found some of this information helpful. If so, please click the subscribe button. This is the first of very many videos about female travel as well as solo travel. So I will catch you next week.
That was a great video. I give it 8.5 out of 10. I think it was very informative. It was very different. It wasn't just a stand still and talk video. She actually used what she was doing, so her travel, to explain different aspects of how to stay safe as a solo traveler, which is a very practical way of doing things. So yeah, a lot of respect to her for that. I think the last part where she mentioned is what I said at the beginning as well, being out late at night. Although that's when it can seem there can be lots of fun, if you're by yourself, it can often not be practical to do so. Even as a male traveler, traveling by yourself, being out late at night is probably when often things can happen. I don't know what it is. The lights go out. It gets dark. The worst in people's character can come out late at night. It's one of those things where her advice is very practical, especially if you're by yourself. But even if you're with people, sometimes you've got to really make sure if you're going out at night, you're being that much more aware of what it is that you're doing in your surroundings. So yeah, I give the video an 8.5 out of 10. Very informative, well put together. This seems like it's one of her earlier videos compared to some of the newer ones that I've watched, which are We've got a better camera, edited a bit better, the sound overall is a bit better, but even then, it's still a great video. If you like this video, want any other travel tips, have any other ideas of things you'd like me to see talk about, as somebody who is relatively experienced traveling around the world by myself or with other people, just let me know in the comment section, and please like, comment and subscribe, and hope to see you in the next one. Peace.